For today's assignment, called Texas History Lesson 3.2, San Antonio Established. You are going to need to get a pen or a pencil, something to write with. Again, remember you're going to underline important information that I read because those are the answers for the questions that follow. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our first paragraph before we start. Texas History Lesson 3.2, San Antonio Established. In 1718, Spain established a settlement midway between the East Texas missions and the Rio Grande. They built a mission and a presidio close to the river in south central Texas. The presidio was called San Antonio de Bejar, underline that, and would eventually become the modern-day city of San Antonio. The mission was called San Antonio de Valero, so let's go ahead and underline that, which would later become nicknamed the Alamo. Okay, most of us have heard about that, or we should have by now. Second paragraph. Spanish friars built many missions in Texas, including Mission Santa Cruz de San Saba in 1757. This mission was built in central Texas when Apaches requested Spanish protection from the Comanche enemies. Eventually, this mission and others in central Texas were abandoned by the Spanish and destroyed by the Comanche. Some Native Americans came willing to the mission in order to get gifts of food or protection. Others were forced to live in the mission against their will. In either case, Native Americans would do most of the work at the missions, such as farming, ranching, carpentry, and etc. So I want you to go ahead and underline this right here. Native Americans would do most of the work in the missions, such as farming, ranching, and carpentry, and a lot of other jobs. There was a rigid schedule that had to be followed every day. Part of their schedule included friars teaching the local natives about Christian religion and the Spanish culture. Okay, so besides doing all their work, they also had to go to school, just like you. And the friars would teach them, the local natives, about the Christian religion and the Spanish culture. Most of the missions ended up failing because Native Americans rejected the culture and religion of Spain. Make sure you have all that underlined before we move on. I'm going to get my eraser ready so I can start erasing. Remember, you can listen to these videos more than once, and everything that I underlined would be used to answer the questions that we're going to look at. Okay, so let's move on to the questions. Number 1, in what year was San Antonio established? Name both the mission and the presidio, and we did go over that. You should have underlined it. Number 2, what nickname will eventually be given to the mission built in San Antonio? Remember, its nickname, it's called the, and you should know the name, the what? Number 3, we're not going to do, so put an X over this one. I don't want you to do that one. Number 4, what sort of work were Native Americans expected to do in the missions? What was some of their work that they did? You did underline it. And number 5, what sort of things would the Native Americans be learning from the friars? What did the teachers or the friars teach them in the mission? So go ahead and work on this, and then we'll go to the next page.